Hi everyone, this is Ryan Hoyme, aka Massage Nerd, and tonight this show is brought to you by our friends at Massage Magazine Insurance Plus. Massage Magazine has been exploring touch therapies for over 25 years and has used that industry knowledge to develop the best value liability insurance in the business. And tonight we have Gloria Coppola. Welcome tonight, Gloria.
Hi, Ryan.
And you got two beautiful women behind you?
Yes, I have two special guests with me tonight. We're here in Iowa teaching a class at the Institute of Therapeutic Massage, and I brought along one of their instructors, Kimberly Stumpf, and one of the students that is in the class that we're teaching, Lomi, Carrie Thompson, who's also been a massage therapist for 8 years?
Yes.
8 years. So we actually had a wonderful conversation with Kim's class yesterday, and I said, you know, you guys have some great ideas and opinions about the massage industry, so come on along. Besides, they're my ride to the airport. The things you do for rides nowadays.
Yep. So, Gloria, how long ago were you a student then?
You're pulling that on me again, huh?
Yep.
25 years ago, I was a student before there was regulations and there was more apprenticeship types of things going on and classes that were more intimate and, you didn't have quite the same structure that you see nowadays.
And for you guys, one is 8 years, and what's the other one again?
12 years.
12 years, okay. So you guys are considered veterans in the field, I would say, just because they say the average life expectancy of a massage therapist is around 3 to 5 years, would you say?
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. The burnout rate happens pretty quick.
Yeah. And what do you think the main reason why people get burned out then? Or
well, I personally think that many schools aren't teaching proper body mechanics, nor are they teaching techniques to be applied appropriately. And so students think and feel they've got to push really hard, and they're utilizing their thumbs and their wrist and their shoulders incorrectly. And they're also working too many hours. Some of them are doing 8, 9, 10 massages a day in spas. And I personally know many that burn out in like 3 years and can't even use their wrist anymore. So it's a combination of those kind of things.
And what did you like about when you went through massage school?
What did I like?
Yep.
Massage school was tough for me. Okay, I was a single mom with 2 kids. I had to drive an hour and a half to get to school every night after work. There wasn't much I liked about it, Ryan.
Oh. Humor me, come on.
I'm being honest. It was a challenge, and I hear this a lot from students too along the way. Granted, yes, it did change my life, but it was a challenge. It was a challenge to get there. It was a challenge to stay focused. It was a challenge to hold a full-time job and raise 2 kids, but I did it. What I liked about it was, now looking back at it, that I got a foundation that you don't see very often in massage schools anymore. It was a very spiritually based program way back when. They were, lax on the anatomy, so I actually went and relearned anatomy, after I got out of massage school. But when I look back at the foundation they gave me with presence and awareness and heightening my intuition, I really think that's what made me, a really good therapist, because I got all the other training I needed, the technique and so forth, later on through continuing education.
And what about you got women in the back then?
Actually, I had a very similar experience. The Institute was actually where I had gone to school 12 years ago, and from day one, the owners had said, you need to get grounded, you need to be in touch. We actually had a Reiki master as one of our instructors, and it was really the right time and the right place for me to be in massage school, and it totally revolutionized my life since then.
And Carrie?
The massage school I went to was a very structured massage school. It was very health-based, so we didn't have any of the grounding and the spiritual aspect of massage. So, and that was at a place where I needed to be at that point in time as well, and I was actually in massage school 9 years ago and have had my license for 8. And now after 8 years, I've rediscovered that instead of being so structured, I need to now go towards the spiritual, which I have never experienced before until this year.
And for myself, I went to Sister Rosalind's massage school back in the day, and And that was pretty religious in a way, because we started off each class with some kind of meditation, scripture, and things like that. And the thing is, I wasn't that religious, but I did it more for convenience, honestly, for myself back in the day, because the other massage school is an hour and a half away, and then this one was right in my own town. But I don't regret many of the things that I went to the school, though. So. And what do you think about the length of massage schools? What do you think's ideal, or?
Ooh. Push my button.
Yeah.
I think programs have gotten too short, too fast, too short. And I know all the reasons why they have. It doesn't mean I agree with them. I feel, based on my own experience in massage school and all the continuing education, also as a massage school owner, and also as being a program director in many schools in the United States, the programs I find that are more well-rounded, that give students time to really practice their skills rather than get rushed through other longer programs. I personally am not an advocate, and you know this, Ryan, I'm not an advocate for a 500-hour program in 6 months. I'm not. Can students come out and have, a good sense of things in that? Yeah, but the problem is there's a lot that thinks that's all there is. And if they don't go to a school in a state or live in a state that requires continuing education, they stop, a lot of them. They don't go for more education. And, not only are they missing out, but clients are missing out. So personally for me, I would love to see a program be at least 1,000 hours and have, maybe a year or 2 years to take that, to give people the time to master skills, to get to know really more about the body, to understand it. Because I find students come out and they just don't understand it. And then they'll come and they'll mentor with me and they'll do their techniques on me after they explain to me how much they're hurting, and they don't even know how to apply the techniques correctly. So they're getting rushed through these programs, and one of the things that I have found across the U.S. and teaching in many schools is a lot of the instructors are students right out of massage school jumping into the programs to teach because they can't find qualified teachers. And I think that's probably maybe a big part of the problem out there. Maybe if there was more qualified instructors, then the programs maybe, could be a better program in a shorter time.
And what do you think makes a qualified instructor?
I think they've got to be out there practicing and continuing their education anywhere between 3 and 5 years before they decide to teach. I think they need some type of teaching experience. I don't think just because you can give a massage that you necessarily know how to teach. It requires management skills as well. You need to know how to manage a classroom. And people go in, and sometimes, I've seen it. I had to evaluate instructors in these schools. They don't know what to do with the students. And so they just ignore them, basically. Or there's havoc in the classroom, So I think it's a bunch of things. You need good communication skills. You need to know how to interact. You need to be creative. You need to know how to read your student. I remember being in a school in Missouri, and I was asked to evaluate all the instructors. And there was a lovely, lovely young lady that was an instructor in one of the classes, but the evaluation forms were coming back pretty poorly, even though she was a sweetheart and she really wanted to teach. But she sat behind a desk, and she'd take the book and she'd read from the book. Now, I'm sitting in the back of the classroom watching the students and who's on a cell phone, who's drawing pictures, who's chatting. She's not even watching the fact that they're not paying attention to her because they're bored. And so I sat down with her later and I said, I know you want to teach, but that's not teaching reading from a book. Your students could go home and read from a book. So, there's so many things. And sometimes, students are going to have emotional stuff come up after they've been touched. And if you're not the type of personality that can deal with that and help guide these students in the right direction, well, then who knows what could happen with all of that. So there's a lot that goes into teaching, more than most people realize. And, there's some programs out there now for, massage instructors to take. Most of us learned by stepping in the classroom years ago and navigating around. But even though that is how I started, I had the sense enough to go and take classes on teaching, on psychology, on all these different things where even though it wasn't required, I did it.
Yeah, and with teaching too, myself, I was kind of thrown into it, but back in the day, that's what they did a lot of times. I mean, a book and a syllabus and here teach kind of thing. But over time, we've upped the standards a lot, and we see the need for a lot more. Because I myself, that first quarter, every single day, I wanted to quit with a passion.
You know, I've had a lot of instructors, you know, to this day, contact me. There's a few of them that stay in touch with me on a regular basis, and they tell me what's going on in their classrooms, and they don't know what to do. You know, and they've been teaching for a few years, but they got thrown in it, you know, in their early 20s, right out of massage school, and they weren't prepared for all the challenges that were going to come up. And then when they have, you know, students that are twice their age, that, you know, they're trying to gain the respect of somebody twice their age, but they're not mature enough to handle it, that becomes a problem. And then what I find is they'll be emailing me or calling me up, and they always want to point the finger and the blame at the school. But you know what? There's also a time and place where we have to accept responsibility for who we are as a teacher, and what we're going to do to be a quality teacher. We can't blame schools and students. You know, if we are not giving our best, then we got to go find out how to do that or get out of teaching.
Yeah, and do you see the average life expectancy for teachers not long at all, or do you think they stay in the field a long time? Or
I see a mixture. I see some of us that are old school, really dedicated, still hanging out like me. Yeah. Okay? But I also see the ones like myself giving up on the massage schools. We're going into more doing our own thing. And the reason we're giving up on the massage schools is because the programs have changed so much, because it's not allowing for the time to truly teach the skills that these students need. We don't have the time anymore. They want them in, want them out. You get a seat, get the money, cha-ching, get them out. And that's it. And so a lot of the old school teachers are getting frustrated with that because we can't share the gifts and help these students get to where they are. And then some of the younger ones leave, you know, within a couple of years too, because they get frustrated. They don't have the skills. You know, someone said, "Oh, you make a really good teacher." They throw them in. They're like, "Oh, great," you know, and it doesn't turn out that way. And there's a lot of instructors out there that have contacted me with their frustrations, and I think it's a combination of things. You know, getting thrown in like you did and I did. But again, it goes, you know, to that responsibility level for themselves. But the quality of student has changed in the schools too. You know, for you and I both have talked about this. You know, for quite a few years there, massage was, you know, up and rising, and you had commercials on TV making, you know, $60, $70, $80 an hour. There was grant money and loan money and all this coming through the government. And so a lot of schools were filling seats, and it didn't mean the person was called to the profession. So it also created a lot of challenges for the student and for the instructor.
Yep, I remember those days when I first started teaching back in 2001. I mean, we had influx of students constantly coming in, and it was coming in and coming out really quick all the time. And,
Yeah.
But over the years, it seems to be dropping a lot. I mean, that seems to be the trend. Do you know why that is, or have you looked into that
Why
more?
it's dropping?
Yeah.
I have my feelings about it. I mean, I don't know what is out there in research. I mean, I know one is, you know, some of the grant money isn't there as freely, so the schools can't just, you know, say, "Oh, well, I got all this money and I'm going to give you a grant and here's a seat," you know. So that has changed. I think because there were so many therapists out there too, and having a hard time finding jobs because the jobs weren't there that they were promised, or they were taking jobs that were paying a lot less than they thought they were going to get paid, and they realized they weren't going to work, you know, for $10 or $15 an hour when they were told they can get a lot more, and they were burning out real quickly. So I think the words got out there too, you know, massage isn't necessarily going to make you that money right out of school, you know, and if the passion isn't there to continue with it, those people usually drop out. So now your numbers are falling down in the schools between the lack of the grant money and the fact that people are realizing, you know what, it's not just a back rub.
Yeah. I've had some students, prospective students, come up to me and stuff. They say, "Oh, the commercial looks so cool. That's what I want to do," kind of thing. And they don't realize. And even for myself, when I signed up for massage school, the first day I was just shocked that we had to read out of a book and stuff. And
yeah, you have to learn anatomy, huh?
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of schools go out of business in this last year. I know you have.
Yep.
I was just talking to someone in North Carolina, and there were 4 massage programs within this one region, and now there's one. My alma mater wound up closing this year after being in business for 35 years because, there's a chain massage school popping up all over the place. And because they were at that point able to offer, some of the government monies where a lot of the private schools were, just like, Sister Rosalind's, we weren't getting the students. And unfortunately, some of the quality schools have had to close.
Yep. And what do you think prospective students should look in for a school before they actually register and stuff? What are things?
I think they need to sit in on classes. I think they need to. Yep. Right?
There's a lot of head nodding back there, so.
I think they need to make sure that, number one, this is really going to be the school they want to go to, and not just because someone's selling them the program or saying, I've got loan money, okay? I think they need to sit on classes. I think they need to get to know how an instructor teaches and see if they can make that connection and it feels right. I think they need to get massage from the students to see what the quality of the massage is that they're turning out, and is this where their future is going to take them? I do not think anybody should just sign a contract and enter a massage school, sight unseen of everything. What do you think, ladies?
No, absolutely not. And a lot of our students that have come through and actually followed through with their contract were the ones that sat in for the day and they automatically get a student massage from the clinic so that they can actually see what will be expected from them. And it's turned out a better quality student and a better outcome because they know exactly what's expected of them.
And this is at the Institute of Therapeutic Massage in Davenport, Iowa, where we are tonight.
Yeah. Just south of me. So, what kind of questions? What kind of questions do you think prospective students should ask schools, though?
They should have a list of questions. My number one question would be, how long have your teachers been teaching? How long have they been a massage therapist? Do you do job placement? Where can I expect to get jobs? Okay, what does your curriculum include? How many hours of anatomy and physiology? The hands-on practice, is it supervised? Is the clinic supervised? I cannot tell you how many clinics are not supervised. They may have a supervisor, but they're not supervised. Oh gosh, help me out here. What other questions should we be asking?
If they have to do any amount of community service hours.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Because a large part of it, people don't understand, is that, they can do events and they don't get that opportunity unless the school is actively participating in the community and is setting up community service opportunities for these students to take part of. And it should be built into the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it would be really nice if schools offered or asked their past students to come in. So prospective students can ask the licensed massage therapists that have gone through the program how their experience with the school went.
Yeah. Have a referral system where they can talk to some of these people.
Yep. Yeah, because for my student too, every now and then, we actually have, they can audit any class, again, for free. So that makes it really convenient, so they can come back for portions of classes. And
if a school, in my opinion, is offering a quality program, then they should open that up. I did when I had my school. Matter of fact, it was a requirement. When you came in to apply, okay, and this was the difference back in the day when I had a school, you had to prove to me why I would accept you, okay? It wasn't the other way around, just because you had money, you can come to my school. So, I also think some of those standards should change. It should be better screening. And then I would tell the students, potential students, before I accept you, I want to make sure it's a good fit for you. I want you to come into anatomy class, and I want you to come into a class that does hands-on body work. And then they get an anatomy class, and they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know we had to learn all that, I want to make sure that they understand, because believe it or not, a lot of students don't realize they're going to have to take clothes off to receive massage, as well as actually touch massage. Ryan, I've had students in school that didn't even know they were going to have to do this.
Yep, I've had that too, yep.
Oh my God, how does that happen, you know? So you've got admissions people throwing these people into classes, and then they're like, what, I have to take my clothes off? So, as a school owner, I want that potential student, to know that this is what could happen. And then I want them to get a massage from my students. And I did have a referral list for them to talk to, previous students that graduated. So I think that's really important, that if you're looking for a massage school, see if, they're going to offer you those options to see what's going on, because if they're not, I want to know why they're not. Why aren't they letting you into a classroom to audit? Why aren't they offering you to get a massage in their student clinic? That would tell me something loud and clear.
Yeah. And I think one of the biggest problems massage students run into is they just feel burnt out, especially just before they graduate or once they graduate, about giving free massages all the time. And sometimes people expect them to still do that then.
Yeah, and I think part of that is because these programs have gotten slammed down in 6 months.
Yeah.
You know, because it is overwhelming. You know, we all know the amount of studying that we didn't even know we were going to have to do in the midst of our life, that we're squeezing all this in. You know, and then we've got to do all this other stuff, and it's hard, and 6 months goes really, really fast.
Yep, definitely, because over the years we've upped our diploma to a year, and then our associate degree to almost 2 years now and stuff. So, and do you see that education going to associate degree or maybe even a bachelor's degree in the future? Or
I would like to think that it would go for at least associate's degree. You know, we were talking about that before. They're saying, yeah. I think it would be wonderful if, you know, part of that degree did include communication classes, real business classes, okay? Yeah, thank you. Psychology classes, you know, so not only are they working toward an associate degree, but they're getting classes that are going to be really valuable for them to work, you know, in their own business. And when I say that, just because you work for somebody else, because people say, well, I'm not going to have my own business. It is always your own business, even if you work for somebody. You're selling what you have, your skills. So whether you're working in Massage Envy or local day spa, you know, a medical practice, wherever, it is always your business. You're the one that has to, you know, have customer service and please that client, and you need to know how to run that business within a business, and so many people don't know how to do that and don't even think it's necessary. So I think it would
your
the classes they take include all this. What are you going to say?
Yep. All right, your Skype locked up there for a moment.
Okay. What do I need to do?
No, no, it's okay now. So
Okay.
don't touch anything. Yeah.
So what do you ladies think about an associate degree? For how do you feel about that? Do you think 6 months is fine?
No, I definitely think it would give us even more credibility as massage therapists, as like therapists, not as, oh, you're just one of those. And it would give them a sense of value as well, because they've done more than just a certification. And I know that those who've done a 2-year program have felt more well-rounded and complete, and have had the time to be able to grow into the techniques that they really appreciate and they actually thrive at doing. And so it'd be nice to see it be as an associate degree.
I think it would also weed out some of the individuals that believe that they are going to enter massage school and get a very quick degree to make big money, when reality is, as we all know as veteran massage therapists, it is not quick money, it is not easy money, it is not big money. And it's a lot about what we bring to the table, because we are bringing ourselves to the table. Our tool is our hands. And we as therapists need to be educated on what to bring to our hands through our mind and spirit to allow our body to help others. And it's lacking.
And where do you see students dropping out the most? Do you think in the beginning quarter, or halfway through, or towards the end, or?
Towards the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Towards the beginning, because a lot of students have said, I'm learning a whole new language that I don't understand, and you are asking a lot of me, and why do we need to learn this so fast, and isn't this something left to the medical professionals? And I can't begin to tell them enough that, you know, you are doing as much, if not more, than what medical professionals are doing, and you're impacting people's lives so much more. You need to have a handle on this, and it's overwhelming in the beginning, you know, like you had said, in those first quarters where you just can't believe that you're having to learn this stuff.
And you know, and part of that I blame again on the lack of proper screening. When I had my massage school, we didn't have that kind of fallout. You know, in the almost 12 years I had my school, There were only 2 that I actually let go because of, a lot of inappropriate types of things, and that was it. It's like, we'll work with you and stuff, but if not, you're out. As far as people backing out and quitting because they couldn't handle it, that didn't happen in my school because I did a good screening and I made sure they understood what was going to be expected, and they took like little pre-tests to see, I wasn't testing them to see that they can get it right, just so that they understand what they're going to have to work towards. And if a student was struggling, we had like counseling there to help them and guide them. And, I have to say, the people that came out of my school, and so many of them still are out there practicing, some of them are teachers, and they are dedicated. It was a whole different type of genre of student where you don't get that necessarily nowadays because, again, like we were saying, they'll pop somebody in a seat because they need to pay the bills.
And do you think, what are some of the harder classes that you kind of lose the students in?
I think anatomy is a big one. I think the anatomy overwhelmed. Yeah, they're shaking this.
Yeah.
I think the anatomy, I do not think that most people that enter the field understand the depth of the anatomy and that they're going to have to know the functions of muscles and all the different systems. I've had nurses in my school say, well, I don't need the anatomy, can't I just skip that? And I said, no, because it's applied differently than what you learned in nursing school. And then they all say, oh my gosh, when they were in the class, they didn't realize, the depth that it would go into more specifically. And so, like Kim was saying, the language is something new for people. We all know the amount of terms, gosh, that we have to memorize. So I think that's where you see a big fallout begin to happen. It just is too much. And then I also see sometimes with students, when we really get into the guts of the massage and then they have to start doing clinic and they have to work on people, it's like, what? I got to work on people? It's like that reality comes in and that scares a lot of them. And the people skills. The people skills, yeah.
How do you train somebody that doesn't have people skills, though?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is one of the things I think is lacking in a lot of schools is that they don't teach that. And when I had my program and when I've written programs for schools out there, I would have segments throughout the training when we actually work with them. We would do public speaking. We get them up in front, to communicate with each other, to learn how to make eye contact, how to do a handshake, how to walk, kind of like going to charm school, Yeah, seriously. And believe it or not, Ryan and I went to charm school years ago. So some of those skills actually that I learned way back when I couldn't understand why my mother was sending me, actually came in handy when I actually had to coach students on how to present themselves. How to, some people say, well, I'm going to go to massage because it's a great business. I don't have to talk to people. I'm going to go in a dark room and nobody's going to see me. Well, that's not the total truth of it, though. You still have to greet your client. You still have to make a connection. You have to communicate. You have to listen. And so when I teach students, I teach them listening skills too, so that they really are paying attention. So there's so much involved. And I think that component is missing in a lot of programs as well.
Then you're just locked up again? Okay, you moved. Okay. Yeah. So what do you think about... Yeah. What do you think about student groups?
Like study groups?
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea. I think students should definitely take advantage of a buddy, a study buddy, or a group. That's what helped me learn the best, especially my anatomy. Picking up a book and trying to memorize terms and not understand the functions didn't work for me. So I had a study buddy, and I always tell students, get a study buddy or get a group together and work with each other, because you know what? I might pick something up in class and understand it, and then Kim might get some of the part of it and carry a different part of it. And if we came together, we could explain all the things that we got and help each other.
But how can you... This is the problem I've run into in the past. How do you talk a student into kind of organizing, getting one of those going? And
well, yeah, thank you, Carrie. You don't talk them into it. You tell them it's a necessity. You take on the papa role, Ryan.
Yeah.
Tell them today in class, there's the mother voice again.
Yeah.
Okay? And I really think that is part of, as instructors, to put that point across, that this is not a maybe you should. This is, yes, you need to do this, you know. And maybe schools need to design something like that, you know, and put it in the curriculum where there's an hour every so many days or something that becomes part of it, you know. But see, that again, I think has to do with the system and how it's changed. I think if you get students that are serious, committed, and passionate about going into this profession and want to excel, I think you'll find more of those will be the ones that will take the time out to find somebody to work with. I think if you got somebody just sitting in the seat because they want to make a lot of money, they're not going to take the time. They're not going to take it serious. And so why do I have to do anything else outside the classroom, you know? And that attitude doesn't work. What do you think?
I think, too, that people have to take into account they all have different learning styles, and that filter is going to end up happening where one picks up more than the other, and they should take advantage of it, because you don't get that when you get to boards and you sit in front of the computer and have to do your boards. And so it's best to get a grasp on that early on and really cultivate that. And I think that's also part of the instructor's job, to be able to really cultivate and have them understand, you know, a lot of them are adult learners, and they have had their own learning experiences with education and the learning process, and so you should let them know, you know, you may be an auditory person, or you are a totally visual person, and be able to correlate that in with their instruction. It's made a huge difference when I've been able to pull it all together, and you can see the little light bulb moments happen above their heads, and you're like, we got it, we made the connection. It makes a difference, and then they finally understand, oh, that's why we're here.
And another thing, I think this is something that instructors need to state day one in their orientation. I think it's really important for instructors out there to set an example, okay? Make an outline. What are the parameters going to be? Follow through on them. Okay, so in a sense, you are kind of like a parent, you know? You're telling your children, your students, this is what I expect of you, and I'm going to be here to watch over you, support you, and guide you, and you need to do this to get here. But what happens is some don't set those parameters at all day one, and so students don't know what the parameters are, and they flounder around, and they get away with things, you know, because then 2, 3, 4 weeks down the road, the instructor is getting frustrated, and then they want to set the rules. But guess what? No one's going to listen to you then, okay? Because they know, well, wait a minute now, 4 weeks went by, and now you're giving me rules? I don't have time for rules. So I think we need to take the responsibility as instructors, set up those parameters, and stick to it. And explain to them, you want to succeed, you want to pass your exams, these are the things that are going to help you, okay? Do you want to succeed? And if they're going like this, and you're giving them the tools. And if they're struggling along the way, and they haven't joined a group, then bring it up again, you know, day one, this is what we told you would help you. You know, if you're not going to do it, then you can't blame the school that it's a crappy school. You can't blame the instructor that it's a crappy instructor. You've got to take responsibility for yourself. How much effort did you put into the suggestions and the guidance that the teachers gave you?
And it seems like oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this brings it into the real world of massage therapy. You don't join a student group, or you don't connect with your fellow students, you can't connect with your fellow therapists, and you need each other. Because therapists, when you get to be licensed and you're working out in the field, we don't know it all. One therapist cannot do it all. We have our strengths, and we need to connect with each other. And if we can't connect as students, how can we connect as therapists?
Good point, Carrie.
And for students, do you see about maybe 50% of them actually completing the whole program then, or less, or more? Or?
In my day, they used to complete it. Now you don't see that. Okay, now sometimes it's about 50% of the enrollment from being in some schools throughout the states, talking to other instructors. You know, I've had some people say we started out with 20 students and we ended up with 8. You know, and unfortunately, that's just part of what's happening again, because the screening process is not being done in the beginning, and people are just filling seats up. You know, I think again, if that changes within the school system, and you get the right people into these classes, that rate is not going to drop that much. What do you think? How's your dropout?
We don't have dropouts. They stick through, and it's really because we hold their hands, and not to the point where we don't expect them to do their work, because we do, but we make sure that they understand, and I think that's the biggest, component with this.
And then I would like to add with that a whole other question, Ryan, which is, out of the graduates, how many pass their boards? Because some of the schools that are around the region I live in, here in Iowa, they have graduates, but there's not a lot of them that pass their boards because they don't have the fundamentals to go into the boards to pass.
And we'll take it one step further. They pass their boards, they get their license. How long do they stay in business because they don't have the skills? So you got all these different parameters. So in the end, you start out with 20 students. How many of those students actually become viable massage therapists?
Do you think massage therapists would stay in the field longer if there's more guaranteed money out there?
No.
No?
We're saying no. Guaranteed money? I didn't go in it for the money.
I didn't know there was a guaranteed money with any job.
Well, a lot of people, a lot of places, just like an hourly pay kind of thing. You're guaranteed that, say, $10, $15 an hour, and just clock in, clock out. And
I think, again, the industry has changed a lot in the last 5 years or so. So for me to take a look at some of these businesses out there that, are paying a certain amount per hour, and therapists working hard, yes, it's physical, yes, but on the flip side of it, and I know a lot of people aren't going to want to hear what I have to say right now, they're not going to like it. 6 months of training, making $50, $60, $70, $80 an hour, come on, guys, all right? My daughter is going to school to be a nurse, and she says to me, Mom, I have to go to school for years. I'm one day going to have to wipe someone's gluteus maximus. And I'm not going to get paid anywhere near that. Why do massage therapists think that they can get paid that after 6 months of training and get upset because they're only making $15 an hour plus tips? The fact of the matter is we have to get real about this, Do we deserve more? When we have continuing education, when our skills are fine-tuned, when we've been in the business for a while, yeah. But when you're fresh out of school in a 6-month program, and quite frankly, Ryan, I've had massages from these students, some of them, across the board, and they don't know how to give a massage. And then the first thing I usually hear from them is they'll contact me, and they'll complain about the business. Such and such business isn't paying me. They're not giving me enough, clients. But so-and-so here is getting all the clients. Well, so-and-so happens to be more skilled. They're doing a better job. They don't have an attitude, and so then these individuals get upset and they quit and they badmouth the companies and all. And again, there's going to be therapists out there that aren't going to want to hear what I'm going to say now either. Massage Envy is a huge, huge corporation out there that, granted, does not pay the $50 and $60 now, but you know what? They're providing jobs. They're providing jobs for the amount of therapists that have moved through these schools that otherwise would not have any job to get their basic foundation, to learn how to run their own business, to get the skills they need behind them. It's a starting point. And you know what? If you were making $10 an hour somewhere in an unhappy job, and if you really loved a massage, then, $15 in a job you love for a while isn't a bad deal.
Yep.
I don't know how you feel about that, and if you agree or not, but, that's kind of where I come from.
And especially places like Massage Envy, too. I mean, it's a great place for the students to get their feet wet, too, because if they go in for business for themselves, honestly, not all massage therapists are business people. And some are not going to make it no matter what in the business area, but sometimes they just need these spas or salons or franchises in order to still stay in the field then,
You think about it, they have these beautiful places to work at, okay? They don't have to invest the money. They don't have to invest into marketing and promoting. They don't even have to do sheets sometimes, Some of them are, if the sheets and everything are supplied, all they have to do is show up. Now, anybody who has their own business knows that you have got to put money into marketing, into rent, into utilities, into phone, into your laundry, into your oils, all of this stuff. And so when you sit there and say, I make $50 an hour, okay, or $60 or whatever it is, deduct all of that stuff and tell me what you really come out with.
It's called the reality. Yep.
That's right. It's a reality check. So you know what? If you're not a business person and all you have to do is show up to get your feet wet and learn the whole ropes of all this, and you're walking into a place that's providing all this, and some of these places even provide continuing education. You know, they require it. Some don't, some do. So when I listen to some of the people working in these different franchises and they say, you know what, our company actually brings in educators to teach us other modalities. They don't have to pay for it. Some of them even get health benefits. I don't have health benefits as a private practitioner. You know, so you have to weigh it all. And if you don't like where you're working, then don't badmouth the company. Go start your own business.
Yep. And then, what about for continuing education providers? What should students look in for continuing education providers?
Well, let's take a step back first. Okay? Because here I'm going to verbalize a pet peeve that has not gone public yet. Oh dear, she's saying. The places that approve us as continuing education providers, my question is, other than submitting our paperwork and our money, why aren't we screening these providers first? Why aren't they submitting a video that they know how to teach? Because there's a lot of providers out there that do not know how to teach, and they're teaching misinformation or incorrect techniques. So that has got to change, in my opinion, okay? Because I personally know therapists that will take classes, maybe from me and you, Ryan, and maybe from whoever out there, and then down the road, about 6 months later, they've become a provider, and you go to their website, and they are listing all the courses that they just took, that their names are almost the same as the ones of some, you know, the people out there like myself that have been teaching for years. And I got to tell you something. I had them in my class. I wouldn't even want them touching my body, let alone teaching. So I think, first of all, for providers, the companies that create that have to come up with a better way of monitoring the skills of the teachers. Then, if you want to take a class, I think you should ask around. I don't think you should just jump in on a class, you know, just because it's cheap, it's in your hometown. Okay?
Or your CEs are about
or
to.
your CEs are about
Yeah. So many people do that.
Okay?
Yeah.
I think you need to ask. I think you need to maybe ask other students, read testimonials, or see if you can get the instructor online. I don't know a whole lot of instructors that will talk to you, but I will. Okay? And you get to talk. Ask me what my class is about, you know? You want to talk to one of my students? I'll put them on the phone, okay? Or the email. I think it's important. I also think it's important to know where you want to go in your future with the work that you're going to, you know, study. So, you know, I see students sometimes, like you were just saying, they only take a class because they are required to take CEs, you know, and they don't care what it is. But you know what that tells me too? They really don't care about their profession. You know, because I know when I took CEs, and I took lots of them, and I came from a state originally that didn't require it, I just wanted to learn. And I was excited to learn about the body, you know, and be able to offer more things for my clients. So, you know, you've got to know what is it you want to bring to your practice, to your clients. Are you more of a medical kind of structural person? And you're going to look for maybe those classes. You know, do you want to get involved in energy work or bring more spirituality into your practice? Don't just take a class because, oh, it's in my neighborhood, okay? It's, you know, October 31st and my license is due tomorrow and I'm going to jump on a class, okay? And definitely find out about the teachers. Find out about their courses.
And
what do you say?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, you know, make sure, is it something that's going to set you apart from the pack? Because we are in a marketing world. We are in individual businesses. And if you're offering something different than what everybody in your area is doing, well, then you know that you've got a corner. And it's not because you're selfishly going after money all the time, but it's because you are marketing yourself.
Yeah.
And if you have something different and unique, you're going to get the attention.
That's great. So learn to specialize in something, maybe.
And you're right.
If you have a passion, follow it. I was a very structured massage therapist, still am to a point. I have found my niche. I'm following my journey at this point. However, with that being said, and I'm not trying to plug Gloria here, I took a 17-hour drive to take a 3-hour explanation type course in April to find a path that I am now journeying down. But I drove 17 hours one way just to take a 3-hour class to learn about her CEs and this class that I'm taking. And that just says a lot when I could have driven 45 minutes to take a whole weekend class.
And you ready for the $1 million question?
Go for it.
What makes a certification when there's so many things out there. You're going to be certified in this, certified in that, and
Passion.
I see your face.
Because you know my answer.
Yeah.
How do I say this politely? If I was to certify somebody, make you certifiable,
Yeah.
I would want to know your skill level. I would want to make sure that you have worked on you. I wouldn't just give you a piece of paper after, so many hours of class and say, okay, you are certified in this modality. Okay. I believe that we as instructors have to be responsible to know that our students that we are giving that credential to, if that's what we offer, has experience with it and knows how to use the skill and properly uses the skill. And just to take an exam and call yourself certified, if you're a good bookwork person and you know how to study, you can pass an exam. That does not mean what you're doing on the table is quality. So I think you need both. I think we need to, again, be responsible and live in integrity and make sure the students that we're putting out there with a certification have actually been tested with hands-on skills.
And I think therapists out there are just so overwhelmed. There's so much out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every day there's a new style, it seems, that's being developed or something like that. And
yeah, the Ryan Hoyme style coming up.
Here, let me trademark that really quick.
Yeah, which is ridiculous, and we all know that. It's just a takeoff of something else. It's a takeoff of something else, and we tweaked it a little bit. We put our little flair on it. There's nothing new out there. Okay, there's new teachers. There's a new flair to the style. I've taken, I've lost count after 3,000 hours of C's. I stopped counting about 10 years ago. There really isn't anything new.
But,
in my opinion.
But do you think massage therapists would actually take the amount of CEs if they weren't required to?
I do.
Some with passion.
Mm.
If you have passion, you will.
Mm-hmm.
If you have integrity,
Yeah.
you will. Because you are going to bring that, your client's going to know. Your client's going to know if you're not taking Kana classes. And they're going to go to someone who does have passion and who will take those Kana classes to better themselves. Because you're not bringing you to the table anymore. You're bringing your physical body, but you're not bringing your mind.
And why wouldn't you want to? Like Kim was saying, you want to set yourself apart. If there's a plethora of massage therapists, especially in your region, then you know what? You better hone in on some other skills, and why not take it? I'm teaching Alomi here at the Institute for Therapeutic Massage in Davenport, Iowa. Did I mention that? And we've got several people in that class. This is a 42 CE class. They don't even need CEs. Okay? We're in December tomorrow, November 3rd, December. They don't need CEs. They are here because they're committed. They want to learn something that's calling them. For therapists to, come into a class, 5-day class, take the time off from work to do this, that's the type of student I want in my classes. I want that passionate, committed student that says, I'm not here, Gloria, because of CEs. I want something more. That's what I would hope more people would aspire to. Go to the class because you're called to it, because you want it, because you want to be a better therapist.
Yep, and Phyllis in the chat says, the client you can't help is a great motivator for learning.
Absolutely, Phyllis.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that today in
Yeah.
class, that every time a client comes, they're there to teach you something. And sometimes it means get your butt back in school.
Yeah.
It'll humble you very quickly.
Yeah.
Yep. And what about is there a lot of instruction out there for actually teaching then? Is there places to get help and stuff, would you say?
There are some places that are offering teacher training programs. There's not, in my opinion, enough yet. I know BTI in North Carolina, Rick Rosen's school has it. I know there's a couple of other places that have started some trainings. I know the ABMP put out an excellent book for teachers that I always recommend. I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. Do you know, Ryan?
No, I don't, but I got it on my shelf at school, though.
You know, it's a really excellent book. They compiled it with a bunch of different instructors. They did an excellent job of going through every single thing that, you know, commonly you come up against and how to do it. I think, you know, just even taking that book and bringing that into the school system and having someone, you know, work with your staff with all of that, what a great idea. I mean, I've done that in schools. I've gone to schools and done their teacher trainings for them and, you know, kind of hone them in on some skills.
I think the AMTA does as well. They're starting to bring that about as well.
Yeah, I think I saw something about the AMTA doing that too.
Yeah, because what I've noticed, it's kind of like a cycle. I mean, you're a student, and then you take continuing education classes, and then you eventually start teaching, and then it just... And then those teachers end up taking classes, and it's just constant movement all the time. And
absolutely. I mean, I'm a student. 25 years later, I'm still a student. I love learning this. You know, and what's really cool about our profession at this time is all the research that is out there. I didn't have research back then. We had 2 massage books to choose from. Now we got Ruth Werner out there, and Susan Salvo, and all of these inspiring people spending, you know, their life committed to the research of this and giving us books on pathology and pharmacology and so forth and so on. And therapists, I don't even know if they realize the advantage they have nowadays, you know. We had to, you know, wing it back then. You know, we didn't know what's out there now, and the research is continuing, and I think that is inspiring for me as a veteran therapist, you know, to open up a book and see, wow, I didn't know we shouldn't be doing deep tissue massage if somebody is on, you know, like a statin drug. Whoa, no wonder their joints and everything's hurting, okay? So it's great that that research is being done.
And for myself, too, I mean, for the websites, there's hardly anything out there, but now there's tons. And that's why I made Massage Nerd, too, because I was so frustrated because there wasn't much out there, so I just wanted to give everything away. And you know.
Yeah, there was nothing, absolutely nothing. And, you know, thanks to you and YouTube, you know, all the videos, and then you turning me on to making videos and other instructors, you know, there's a lot that we can offer now, you know, for students, even for review or to check out a teacher, you know. Like, we have a couple people in my class this week that said they saw, guess what, Ryan, the YouTube videos that you helped me create on Lomi Lomi.
Uh-huh.
And they were like, you know, they saw not only the technique, they saw something within me, they saw something deeper about the work, and they said that's why they're there. So, you know, it's important that that information is out there. As you know, I thank you for doing it and for teaching me how to do it. And now you even offer a training, everything YouTube online, for people to learn how to do that and make their own videos to promote, whether it's their private practice or to provide information for their clients. You know, what a great way to make a video and talk about some of the simple benefits of massage that you offer your clients and put it on your website.
Yeah, because right now, I mean, there's so many people out there that they need more visual. I mean, reading is okay, but the thing is, they need another option. So just tapping in there. And you're beginning to become a master, too, with video now. So.
To you, right?
Yeah.
Everything I ever needed to know about YouTube, I give to you.
See, aren't you glad?
My mentor in that department.
Aren't you glad you went to Max? You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for tonight, for a student just listening and stuff, what kind of tips that would really help them out and stuff? Then would you say, for learning wise and?
Okay, so I definitely think the study buddy idea is a must. Okay, don't wait to study right before the test. All the questions at the end of your chapters, they really are there for you to answer them. You know? I am always really surprised when I look at a student's workbooks and don't see anything written in those questions and answers.
So they can sell them back, you know?
Yeah, we'll just go for the answers.
Yeah.
You've got to understand things. You have to ask questions. You don't sit in class and just say, oh, God, I don't understand this, and not ask your teacher to explain it another way. Because like Kim was saying, there's so many different ways that people learn, and maybe your instructor hasn't hit that way for you yet. You've got to ask and understand. If you don't understand, you will never pass your test.
And we're not mind readers. The instructors are not mind readers. So we won't learn by going,
Yeah. You know, what I always used to tell, and I still tell students, is, you know, when you get those books and you see those words that are in bold, there's a reason. And don't just memorize them, understand them, okay? Because what's going to happen when you take your boards, those words will show up, but they're going to show up in a format to see if you understand what they mean. They're not going to give you a question to see if you memorize it and pick the right answer. And then they're going to want to know if you know it in relationship to another term. And so if you're just going down, I can memorize this, guess what? It needs more than memorizing. It needs understanding. And so don't wait till the last minute. You know, you're graduating soon. You're like, oh, I have to take my boards. I better start studying. Study all the time. You know, pick up that book, you know, review things. Use the words. Use the terms in your vocabulary. You know, put little sticky notes around in your office space and your refrigerator, and memorize and understand, you know, 3 to 5 terms every single day while you're in school. You know?
And I know a lot of people are totally against the No Child Left Behind thing too. So I mean, teaching to a test, and because that's where a lot of people do it, and they just think that in order to pass the national boards, that's what we have to do is just direct, and it's just frustrating.
Well, you know, I've been in several schools where I've talked to instructors that have told me that they basically pass students, including in their clinicals, because they're told they have to.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. And then I get them in a business class, and they're not doing well. And this is a true story. I was teaching at a school, and this one very lovely young lady was asking a lot of questions, and she'd been a massage therapist for approximately 1.5 years. And she said, I don't understand. My business is not good, and I'm a really good therapist. I said, who told you you were a good therapist? She says, oh, well, you know, my family, my friends. And I said, well, are they clients of yours? And she said, well, you know, once in a while they come for a massage. Well, we can't depend on our family and our friends. Honestly, they're not going to always give us the most honest feedback, because they're the ones that are there to stroke us a little bit, okay? So I said to her, well, have you ever been evaluated? Have you ever, you know, asked a skilled massage therapist that's been in the profession successfully for 5 years or more to evaluate your work? And she said, oh, no. And I said, well, why don't you do that? She says, well, you know, in school, one of the instructors evaluated me. And so I looked over to one of the instructors from the school that was in the class, and I said to this person, I said, would you tell her what you told me? And, you know, he's like, we have to pass you.
And can I add, as a student, I think it's also the student's responsibility that if they're sitting in class and they're not feeling that they're getting the satisfaction of what is being taught to them, they aren't feeling the passion from the teacher, that it's their responsibility as the student in wanting to be in this profession to then seek out mentorship.
Absolutely.
Go to other therapists. I've had students come to me and say, and that I didn't know, they walked in off the street and saw my sign and said to me, can I get some advice from you? Mm-hmm. And I am so happy to sit down with a student and give them information and help them through this, because I was once upon a time there. And we want therapists in our industry that know what they're doing. You know, and as a therapist, my passion is massage. I love what I do and do what I love. And I want to see other therapists love what they do. And you're not going to love what you do if you can't come out of school loving it. You have to love it. You have to have a passion. So I think it's a student's responsibility as well, not just an instructor's responsibility.
Absolutely. And one of the things, Ryan, that I am actually starting in January 2012, because I've had students for many years ask me to do this, and I'm going to take the step and do it, is actually offer a postgraduate mentoring program. This is not something done on Skype. She's raising her hand still like this. Not something done on Skype. It's not done through email. It's done live. You come and you spend time with me, okay? And you get your questions answered. You get your skills checked. You know, there's going to be assignments and challenges for you, and you have to get accepted into the program, okay? You have to fill out an application, and I have to see, you know, who are you? Like, why do you want to take this? What are you looking to achieve from it? What goals are you setting for yourself? How am I best going to serve you and support you in this process? You know, because I'm not going to just go in and teach a class and say, okay, this is what we're covering today. And you're like, but I know that stuff. I want to know what it is you're struggling with, you know, and that's what my intention is now, is to set up small groups, very small groups, to work with people, and then to take them one-on-one after they've gone through the first segment of it. And, you know, I will work on them too. They'll work on me, and I will work on them. So now they've got a set of skilled hands that's going to say, okay, you did a good job. Let me show you some more.
Yep.
How many teachers do that?
Not too many.
And how many schools only have 1 or 2 teachers? I know of plenty of schools that have 1 or 2 teachers, and you cannot effectively teach these individuals that are wanting to learn this and teach them different types of massage, different modalities, different ways of thinking. I mean, even just the same modality but a different thought process goes a long ways. And when you have one teacher that has taught it for 10, 15, 20 years, they are getting bored, and they are bringing to the table not a whole lot, because they've already given it all up in the past. And I think that is also what we're lacking within the schools as well, is just a difference. I mean, we need to have a change.
And for myself, when I went through massage school, it was totally different. That every single class had a different instructor, and it was so confusing to everybody. Yeah, because it can go to one extreme to the other kind of thing, because it was just, it was frustrating, because you said one thing to, the instructor said one thing to you, and then another instructor just totally bashed the other one. It's like...
I think it's important, let's say you're teaching Swedish, that you have an instructor that takes you through Swedish. And that, you know, maybe there's assistants in the class, you know, that can help out. But that instructor should take you through, so there is no confusion with, you know, another teacher coming in next week, you know. And then maybe there's another modality offered, and maybe someone who actually has better skills than that, okay, that's practiced it longer, has more training in it, comes in and teaches that part of it. You know, I've seen that work, you know. But like you said, if you have 2 teachers or 3 teachers coming in teaching the same part of the program, it can get complicated.
Yeah. And then, where do you guys see your future in massage then in the next year or 2?
Thriving, they said.
Yep. Aw.
It's going to be amped up to a whole another level that nobody is going to be anticipating. It's going to blow people out of the water with where we're going. I just feel it.
And, you know, and Ryan, I just opened an education facility in North Carolina, so I see myself not only teaching more locally, because I'm getting tired of all the traveling, but I'm also going to bring in other instructors that I feel have good quality classes to come in to teach there, and make pricing affordable for students so that they're not paying, you know, ridiculous prices, you know, for, you know, a 2-day class. So my goal is to have quality and affordability, you know, in a convenient location, and not classes that hold, you know, 50 to 100 people, and you come out saying, I never even met the teacher near me. They never even came over and checked what I was doing. So I'm going to create this continuing education facility that is going to offer that type of quality. And so, you know, people out there looking for classes and willing to travel to North Carolina, you know, we're conveniently located to Asheville. It's a great vacation place. You can fly.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's in the Blue Ridge Mountains. We got lakes and hiking trails and rafting and kayaking, and so you can combine it with a trip, which a lot of people do. You know, it's convenient to 2 airports, Asheville and Charlotte. And, you know, we've done a couple classes there. I've had Patrick and Gracia there already teaching a class. I've done some classes. I just opened recently. And people are like, wow, this is convenient. This is great. This is affordable. This is wonderful. They're excited about it. And I'm excited to bring Karen Cowell with Pillow Massage next year. Yay. And Sharon Cusco with the geriatric massage. And then we have lymph drainage and tummy care for pre and postnatal. And yeah, we got a lot of good things coming up next year. But I can tell you one thing, Ryan. I'm not going to take the instructor out there that doesn't have a plethora of years of skills under their pocket and knows how to present a class and give the value to the student. Because I'm a snob.
And we love you.
And they love me. They appreciate it. And what I mean by that is I'm a snob in the sense for you, the therapist out there, because I'm in this field for so long because I've had quality educators in my life. I've had wonderful mentors in my life. I'm successful because of that. It doesn't mean I haven't started over 12 times already because of moving and everything else that happens. But I'm still in this field because of the people in my life that have touched my heart and have provided me the mentorship that has helped me along the way. And that's what I want to give to the future massage therapist.
Great. And then what's the best way for people to get a hold of you then?
Well, they can visit my website or email me. The website's massageproce.com, and the email is the same thing, massageproce@gmail.com.
And what about the Thriving Therapist?
What about them? Those ones
Yeah.
The Peanut Gallery?
Yeah.
Harry, come on up. Harry, tell people where if they want to get a massage, where you're located, and they can feel the quality of your work.
I am in Nevada, Iowa. It is just about 10 miles east of Ames, Iowa, where the Iowa State University Cyclones are.
Yeah.
I'm at CarrieThompsonLMT.com and also CarrieThompsonLMT@gmail.com. And not just because I'd love to have you come and visit my clinic and see what I can offer you. If you are a student and you are in Central Iowa, don't hesitate to get a hold of me. I would love to help you share my vast library of books I have collected over the years that are collecting dust, unfortunately, because I'm not in that realm of thinking right now. I'm on a different journey. I have lots of charts. I love talking to people. Come and see me. I'll help you.
Thanks. And Kim, where can they find you?
You can find me at massagesbykim.com or massagesbykim9@gmail.com. So I'm in the Davenport Quad City area, and we have a ton of Institute of Therapeutic Massage Wellness students and graduates that have stayed in the area. And so my door is always open, as well as to my students. And don't forget, you have Chapter 6 endocrine test next week. Don't forget. Because it's so much not about competition. Massage bodywork is not about competition. It's not who's better paid, and not, it's about, being there for the clients and personally looking after their welfare, because that's what they're entrusting you to do. And so I welcome questions, comments, and concerns, as it were, and such, because, I'd like to provide a sanctuary for those that come through my door, because that was my calling.
Okay.
But thanks for having me on.
Yep, thank you for being on.
Ryan, to meet two professional therapists this dedicated, this open, this loving warms my heart.
Yes, definitely.
They're really fabulous, and seriously, if anybody's in their region, check them out, because they are phenomenal. And Kim teaches at the Institute for Therapeutic Massage, so she's one of the instructors there. And hopefully, if you're in the Iowa region, or surrounding areas, Minnesota, Illinois, you come on and check them out. And again, you could always contact me and email me with your questions, and I'll be here for you too.
Okay. Thank you very much, Gloria. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Always a pleasure. Love laughing with you.
Goodbye.